and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're brand new here. Today in this video I just wanted to talk and expand a little about a comment I received on my last video, and thank you so much for your comment. The core issue is that we're now just slaves without the freedom to pause and reflect, to focus on ourselves, or even to set personal goals. What you're proposing feels unattainable because the system is so rigid. Leave your job and you can't make rent. The stress of even a brief period of unemployment is overwhelming. The idea that hard work leads to success is a myth. It only holds true when it's for clear short-term aim. You can grind away tirelessly for a lifetime and still not get anywhere. So much of it comes down to luck, being in the right place at the right time and knowing the right people. And while I do agree with parts of this message and I do understand your point of view, and once again, thank you for commenting and starting a discussion, I do want to say that I agree that time to pause and reflect has become minimal to nothing, especially if you're in a career that expects a lot of you, and so much of it does come down to being in the right place at the right time and luck. But I guess what I'm trying to say in my last video is that you become that person that luck finds by making those steps. You don't just quit your job and make drastic decisions straight away. You make little steps. For me, it started off with the way I thought, my perspective on things, because I realized very early on that you can't control things outside of yourself, like other people, places, and circumstances, but what you can control is yourself. And I guess in my last video I was speaking about making change to live the life that you want, and you do that by changing what you can change. So your routine, your perspective, your habits, your thoughts. A thought leads to a belief leads to an action leads to a habit leads to a routine leads to a lifestyle. So you change your thoughts, you change your reality. It's a domino effect. And I was saying in my last video that it's not a matter of you're kind of doing it. If you do this, you're all in. You have both feet in, and that means you're willing to do whatever it takes to achieve the goal that you want, which is entirely possible. I get it. You said here that no one has freedom to pause and reflect, to focus on yourself. It could just start off with making that time to slaves without the freedom to pause and reflect. You're viewing it that way. It's I would suggest to make the time to pause and reflect and make it a habit by making time. So habits form over 21 days, and for a habit to become a habit, it takes approximately 21 days of consistently doing it. So it would start off, you wouldn't just be that person. It would start off by you carve out that time intentionally every single day to pause and reflect. And the more you do it, the more reps you get in, and the stronger that muscle gets. And this has become tangible evidence to me by training at the gym. But it applies to everything. The more you do something, the more experience you get, and the more you build on it. And as the 21 days go by, it's just going to become habitual, and it's going to change. It won't be the same as when you started. For me, it's become a lifestyle, and it wasn't always like this. So you do have mental freedom. Like, society can condition you to think that you don't have mental freedom, because most people, they resonate with the same beliefs and feelings and like the same things, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can seem disheartening when you see the majority of people doing it, and almost you think that it's a normal thing to be like that, and that you're maybe not normal, but it's really not like that. It's all about perspective. And I think that when you're starting off to make these changes in your life so that you have the freedom to live the life that you want, it's important to change your perspectives on everything that is taking away from you and not adding to you. So when you get up in the morning, are you dragging yourself out of bed, or are you excited to start the new day? What's your perspective on that? Are you seeing every interaction with humans in the day-to-day world? Are you seeing it as a energy depleter? Because I know for me, I was thinking I was conserving my energy by keeping interactions minimal, but in reality, that began draining my energy in a different type of way. And it wasn't until I changed my perspective, and it's okay if you don't get it right the first time. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll need to keep adjusting your perspective, like you're tuning a guitar. You're using a tuning fork. You're tuning into that frequency. And in this particular example that I'm speaking of, being drained by connecting with people and thinking that I was conserving my energy by interacting with people less, I actually kept on tuning this perspective until I found the right one. And the right one for me was to not limit my interactions, but to only entertain genuine connections. And trust me, I work in an environment that's very performative, and you don't have to change anyone. You don't have to have judgments on anyone. Your judgments on people take energy from you, and it costs you nothing to not have an opinion on something. And I think that's a healthy thing to do until you develop healthy opinions. You might just refrain from having opinions on things until you gain enough experience to have a reason as to why you don't need an opinion on everything and everyone. And that makes it easier to foster, for this example that I'm speaking of, it makes it easier to foster genuine connections, which add to your energy instead of depleting it. And so yeah, it's all about perspective. Your perspective on your life is what gives you your confidence, your energy, your mindset, and the way you interact with everything and perceive everything. And like I said, it doesn't cost anything to have no opinion on something, and that's a healthy way of maintaining your energy and not leaking it. And yeah, you're here to learn, so take your time with it, be easy on yourself, and stay committed to the path and not get distracted, which is another thing that may be linked to perspective. It all starts from the beginning. It's always started from the beginning of your perception, and as time goes on, things happen and threads get formed, and sometimes they get tangled, and you can untangle them by paying your attention to your actions, your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, and changing your attitude towards them. And a lot of people go their whole lives not doing this work. They do that. They just ignore it because it's uncomfortable, and the next thing they know, they're in their 30s having a midlife crisis, and then they do the work, or they start a career that's maybe has them well off in a physical sense, but they're not actually happy, and it's not until some sort of catastrophe happens and they reach a breaking point where they start to choose themselves and be happy. And what I'm trying to say by that is just be happy now. You have the permission to be happy now. Don't let it get to that point. Personally, for me, it got to that point in a different sort of way. I guess it's personal for everyone, but you can make choices from, you can make intentional choices that lead to change from a place of joy or fear. You can do it when it all goes badly and it starts pushing on you to change, or you can do it willingly, intentionally, because you know that it's the right thing to do, because 1 + 1 = 2. I was gonna say A + B = C, same thing. And you know that if you do something that makes you unhappy, you are going to be unhappy. If you do something that makes you happy, you will be happy. That your thoughts affect your beliefs affect your actions affect your habits, and your habits affect your lifestyle. It's the domino effect. Your thoughts reflect out into reality. Everything that exists in your reality right now was once just a thought. Notice that pattern and learn to work with it and use it to your advantage instead of being a victim of it, like most people unfortunately do. And it's still a learning curve. Some people learn it early, some people learn it later. Wherever you are in your journey, I'm just pointing it out to make the path a bit clearer if that's where you want to go. And I hope it is, because your higher self and your inner child would want you to do what's best for you. And yeah, I hope I answered your comment properly by making this video. I hope this video resonated with you and that you make it a good week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.